As the evidence of the health dangers from tobacco products has grown, governments have responded positively, with legislation restricting the sale of cigarettes and banning the advertising of tobacco products. A key reason for these restrictions was to prevent young people from acquiring this potentially deadly addiction. But the fact is that smoking rates among the young continue at high levels, and kids are surprisingly aware of the tobacco brands and products available. Let's explore some of the reasons why this might be happening. Consider this. Convenience stores make over 60% of their sales from cigarettes, followed by milk at only 7%. Kids and smokers are convenience stores' most frequent customers. What is the impact of convenience stores, and why are we continuing to lose this marketing battle? How is it that young people continue to hear the tobacco industry's message? Surely their knowledge of tobacco products does not come only from family and friends. So where do teenagers spend time and see tobacco products and messages?
I have a convenience store right in my basement. I can just take the elevator down.
Yeah, there's a few corner stores from where I live.
Yeah, they sell everything pretty much. If you're running out of milk or something, you can just run over to the convenience store, and there's cigarettes, candy, magazines.
Well, I'd go there to run errands for my mom, go get some stuff, and I'd go there about maybe 5 times a week.
I usually go there about 4 times a week.
There are other kinds of foods, and sometimes different they're lighters and stuff. It's kind of weird.
78% of kids visit a convenience store at least once a week, and there are over 8,400 convenience stores in Ontario. Every day, over 1.2 million people visit convenience stores in this province, and a high percentage of them are young people. Significantly, convenience stores account for 75% of all tobacco product sales. Are young non-smokers aware of tobacco product displays in convenience stores?
Usually it's chocolate bars on the bottom, I think lottery tickets and just random things on the counter, and then the whole back wall is cigarettes. So that's basically what you see when you're paying.
Everything's pretty easy to find. It's all organized.
Especially cigarettes, they're just kind
Yeah.
of in the background
Right behind
as
the
you walk
counter.
in.
Most convenience stores I go to, the cigarettes are pretty blatantly displayed, so you kind of notice them.
The cigarettes, they line the walls, the whole wall is covered in cigarettes.
The display is pretty big, it's up on a wall and you can see it, they're all laid out. So it's pretty vibrant, and there's red, so it kind of attracts your eye, but...
It draws a lot of attention because it's a whole wall dedicated to cigarettes, and it's just very out there.
It's not like a bag of chips, like a whole rack of chips or something, but it's cigarettes, and you notice it. Bright color packages, it's a big wall, and you have to go to the cashier, so it might influence someone to do it more because they see it.
And by the cash register, they have candies and different kinds of cigarettes and lottery tickets. So usually when kids look at candies, they look at cigarettes, so it kind of looks similar to them, as if cigarettes is like candy.
Remember that none of the 160 young people interviewed for this story are smokers, nor can they legally buy tobacco products. So what product information do they know?
Export A is green, Players Light is blue, and Demorier is red.
Laurier or something like
Demorier,
that. Yeah, Demorier.
Mentals,
I do not know
Players.
any.
Players is about the only one that I know.
I see red and white.
Red
Yeah,
and blue.
on the cigarette
there's
cover.
one that's blue and white. I know that blue.
Yeah.
I'd see red or blue colors on there, some symbols of smoking.
There's all colors on the packages of cigarettes.
I know Benson Hedges and Players are a couple brands. It'd be Players, and then there's Demorier, and I'm not sure of the other one.
All I know is Demorier is red and white, and blue is Players. But I don't really look. I try not to look up there.
As you just heard, these young people have extensive knowledge of tobacco products and where they're displayed. In fact, over 40% of kids from non-smoking households can name cigarette brands. We must conclude that existing laws are insufficient, and that despite their efforts to control tobacco, the government is continuing to allow tobacco companies to advertise through the tobacco Powerwall in convenience stores.
I think that convenience store displays is a sort of advertisement. You see it all the time, and it's like watching TV. So you see it and then you want it.
I agree with them. I think it's just a big ad for smoking.
Yeah, I'd say it was a bit of an advertisement, just as much as it is just being there. And if a person has been smoking and is trying to quit, it being right behind the cashier could remind them
when people go into the convenience stores, they'll probably get something, and then when they go to the cash register, everyone's gonna see the cigarettes, right? And yeah, in front of so many kids, I don't think that's really a good place to put them.
It's the last thing you see when you're buying something and you think, maybe I can buy that at the same time that I'm paying for anything else.
I think they're there to just provoke you to buy them.
It sort of haunts you. You've seen it every day, you're seeing it every day, and you're not getting it. And when you actually, one day, your friends will tell you, oh, I want you to smoke. You'll say, cuz I don't want to, right? But then they'll keep pressuring you over and over again. So you'll go to the convenience store one day and then get it.
Yeah, I don't think either that it should be displayed at right by the cashier, because that's where all the things that we actually look at and it stands out to us and we want to see what that is.
I think the tobacco wall has some kind of power in that and kind of drawing your attention to it, and you see it so often. And then if kids go to school or whatever and they think they're not cool and they see the cool kids smoking or whatever, and then they go into a convenience store, like they might be tempted to steal the cigarettes or buy some or get some somehow just to be cool.
I think it has a big power over young kids because they look at them and think, oh, well, there's still cigarettes out here, so maybe I can get somebody to go buy them for me. And if they didn't see them, then they wouldn't remember about it.
2/3 of kids believe Powerwalls could influence other kids to try cigarettes. And consider this, tobacco companies pay convenience stores more than $75 million every year to position their products in the best space in the store. Tobacco companies say these displays are aimed only at existing smokers who might switch brands, but the real result is a powerful wall of tobacco advertising that sends mixed messages to our kids. Do they think it's confusing?
I don't get how you could be on the same side of both sides of the cigarette. You should be either against it or you should just let it go. Like how are kids supposed to know that it's bad for you?
I don't think it's confusing, but I do think the government is sending mixed messages by advertising it by advertising it and where it's placed in the store, but then the government also has commercials and ads about how smoking is bad and the dangers of smoking. So I think there has been mixed messages.
I feel that it is a confusing message because it's just another drug, but nobody's treating it like one because it's being sold just like everything else in a convenience store.
I think it gets confusing when there's commercials that show you not to smoke and then there's advertisements on the wall for people smoking when you see all these cigarette cartons on the back of a wall.
Because the government says not to smoke, but then they sell it anyway, they sell it like candy almost.
Yeah, I think that they should change the way they display cigarettes and stuff, but I don't think they should be so available to people.
What should we do? We ask the people whose futures are most affected by the tobacco Powerwall, our kids. What do they think we should do?
If I went to the government and I told them that I wanted my friends to stop smoking, I would be like, hide these cigarettes, because you're basically advertising to youth that smoking's okay when it's not.
I think it's a good idea to mix cigarettes with chocolate bars and gum because then kids think it's okay to smoke when they get older.
They should be put away behind the counter, right behind the counter and below from the view of the normal kids that go there. And if adults do smoke and if they want to pack a cigarette, they could just ask the cashier.
It's sort of dumb letting kids see them. I think they should put it under the counter so if people want cigarettes, they can ask for it.
Yeah, I think they should just put it under the counter. And if you want a cigarette, that's your choice. You ask for it.
They should have IDs with them. Store, maybe a different store, because convenience store is for everybody. So the kids are seeing it and adults are seeing it. So I think it should be somewhere where
where only adults are allowed.
I think that if they did move it, put it somewhere else where you couldn't see big difference, because then they wouldn't remember them.
I just think it should be in some place where you can't see it and you need to ask somebody to get it or buy it.
And there should be a limited space that you should have in these convenience stores, not just plaster it across the back wall.
I think that if the cigarettes were placed somewhere else, it would help people to stop smoking or not to stop smoking, because then it's just not in your face as much.
I think they should change the position on the wall, because I see kids younger and younger all the time, at my school doing it now and stuff. So obviously it's catching their attention somehow, because you don't see commercials saying
smoke or anything, you see ones that are saying don't smoke. So it's obviously something that's happening in the stores that's wrong.
I would tell them not to put it so close and in front of all kids and stuff, because then they're gonna think it's okay, and if it's in a convenience store and there's so many of them, then there isn't a problem, but there is a problem.
I think that the cigarettes that are on display on the wall should be under the counter or something, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
I think that the cigarettes should not be sold there because these kids are going to be dying earlier, and it's not good, and we're smoking at such a young age, and we need that to stop, and we shouldn't be able to see the cigarettes.